Arnav,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible. Yes.
congratulations, Arnav. We are meeting, I think, again after
Yes,
your
ma'am.
mock. So,
Thank you so much.
how are you feeling now? Finally, you have cracked the exam, and now you are finally, I can say, an IAS officer, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm feeling good because I was able to secure rank 56 and hopefully uh, I'll be getting IS.
Yes,
So that is truly
and
a
it
dream come true.
yes, it's such a high rank. So, how was your journey? Because you were already in services, and
Yes, ma'am.
often it happens that aspirants or people who get some sort of rank in UPSC, so they don't want to go further. So, what motivated you to study again, and also to study like for prelim, then to sit for your mains, and then for like personality test? And I do remember then when I had a word with you, you were little curious to know that how you would be scoring in your paper too, and you were also very sure that this time you would be achieving good marks, and definitely you have achieved good marks. So what motivated you? My question is, you were already in service.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, actually, this all UPSC journey had started in the year 2014-15 when I was in my college second year. So, one of the IAS officers had come to our college, and he actually took a session, and the motivation started from there. So, even though during my college days and afterwards also I joined one of the private firms and I worked there as well, but that thing always remained in my mind. And then I resigned from there. I started preparing full-fledged for civil services in 2018, and I kept on preparing. And first attempt I gave and wasn't able to qualify prelims. Then I gave second attempt, and I went all through, and I was allotted DANIPS. But I was very happy, and I respect each and all the services. They are very good. But I had a dream, a goal in my mind set for myself that at least I'll try my best possible till whatever extent it takes, so as to achieve that goal. And up to that, if I'm having options, I'll try to take all those options possible so as to reach that goal of IAS. And I took that dream in my mind all along. So I was selected in DANIPS. Then fortunately, I got selected in UPPCS, and I started my training as a deputy collector again.
Hmm.
But that thought consistently lingered in my mind, and so did the preparation. So it always felt like a bit more to push for, and
Hmm.
finally it happened. So
Okay. So in this process, did you also have your low days?
definitely, ma'am. Low days are as much the part of the journey as are the high days, and I could say that the high days are very few in numbers. Mostly, you have to manage the normal and the low days itself, because it is a long journey, and all along you will be facing any candidate would be facing failures, and those failures are very much the part of the journey. So you have to keep yourself motivated all along, and that motivation cannot be all external. You have to find some or the other reason yourself regarding why do you want to go forward in spite of everything that is happening negative around you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are able to get that reason for yourself, I think that will help you in those low moments.
True, true. And I also want to know one common thing which I find in all those aspirants who clear this exam, and this is what I have started noticing. I think in 3 years back, and I do have country data on this. I find that all aspirants, even before clearing this exam, they do have some basic personality traits which is like very close to you can say humbleness. I find they have very disciplined personality. I mean the way they talk, and they speak very concise manner, and stability I can see. So was it there because you got into the service, or it was also because before also was it present in you? I mean that focus.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, this process very much makes you the person that you want to be. So it brushes up whatever strength that you have. So eventually, when you fail or you are not able to qualify something or you are not able to achieve something as you have planned, that process makes you very humble because you learn to accept limitations. You learn to accept that yes, failure can be a part of this, and then you learn to keep yourself positive, to move on from all those lows. So all these aspects of personality, even though they are present in all the aspirants who start this preparation, but eventually down the line during this preparation, all these aspects get brushed up. So civil services, to certain extent, has a certain requirement that it wants in a candidate, and this preparation very much prepares the student. So as we say, ki training uh, not only starts from the academy, but it starts right from the decision that a person makes to prepare for civil services. So that is very important aspect. Right?
Oh, that's really nice. And so, what is your score now in your optional in your sociology now?
Yes, ma'am. Sociology has all along helped me to clear all the examinations that I gave. Like last year also in civil services, I got a decent score, 279. In PCS also, it helped me get rank 16. And this year as well, although I was a bit scared to match that 279 score because it is a good score. But fortunately, I was able to make two. And this time it was 285, as I remember right now.
Oh, that's nice.
So that helped to bridge that gap of the ranks.
Yeah. So in your this attempt, in your last attempt, did you made any special notes? Because often aspirants keep asking me that, ma'am, how to make notes, what are the strategies and all that. So did you do any like any something new with that with your
Yes, ma'am.
preparation?
Ma'am, in the last attempt also, I had made my short notes. Like I had compiled all my sociology reading material into one book or one notes, and then I had made a very short notes from that. Like for paper one, around 60, 70 pages, and paper two, around 40, 50 pages. So around 100, 120 pages, you have to completely make these very extremely short notes. So those notes are very much helpful when you revise your syllabus very fast and during the gap that we get between the mains and the uh, GS mains and the optional mains.
Hmm.
So 4 to 5 days gap. So those short notes are very helpful. What I did this time was I picked up contemporary examples that were coming up in the newspapers,
Okay.
and I took one of the courses as well in one of the institutes, and from
Hmm.
there as well I got like the contemporary relevance of the sociological thinkers that are
Hmm.
presently there, and they are writing their
Hmm.
theories and examples and analyzing the facts that are happening around us.
Hmm.
So these things and contemporizing that, I think, helped me score better marks, along with maintaining what I had in the earlier, because that is also essential to maintain that marks as well.
And did you add flow charts in your answers? Will you be able to do that?
Yes, ma'am. I had a very wide writing of in sociology as well. So
Hmm.
I used to draw diagrams as well. I used to draw flowcharts as well. I have drawn maps itself on
Okay.
sociology as well.
That's so
Yeah,
nice.
I remember I had drawn a map of India and had marked tribes in some of the question of tribal.
Hmm.
So similarly, I had used all these things. So there was not much distinction from the answer writing style from GS, but what I made sure was that in GS my answers were more very very objective, very short length points and in an objective format. But in sociology, the answers and the paras were a slight longer. For example, the introduction would be around 4 3 4 pages. Sorry, 3 4 lines.
Hmm.
Then the points also like 3 4 lines points, and then explaining in a bit of paragraph type of form. So a mixed strategy was taken for answer writing in sociology.
Okay. So does your sociological knowledge help you in your essays? Because I often believe and I often say this to my aspirant that sociology is one subject which can help you from your essay till your personality test. So do you also feel same or you have some alternative opinion about it?
Ma'am, sociology, the best part about it is that it is very much applicable in our daily life. So there is a common understanding which could be utilized in the general studies papers, in the optionals of course, and then in the essay you have a deeper knowledge and a dimension of sociology. and then it will be very helpful in personality test as well, because many times the questions that are asked are of a sociological nature, and even though a person may not know the exact thinkers or they may not remember them, but
Yes.
if they have a deeper knowledge of sociological problems, so definitely the answer quality could be improved. But so in that way, sociology can help an aspirant, but then definitely an aspirant should choose according to their interest also very much, because if the optional would not be of their liking, then it will be a
Hmm.
problem for them.
And I do remember that when I took your mock, we had a lot of discussion on thinkers.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think we discussed from Karl Marx to Robert Burton and all. So do you also think that having good understanding for sociology optionals for thinkers is it important? And seeing it not from only from academic or from this institute materials or the materials which is available in the market, but to see these thinkers from a broader shifts or from a broader perspective. Is it you think that is it important to read them in this manner, not only from the point of view that you just have to clear your optionals. I mean, to read them just to have and to increase our knowledge base.
A wider understanding of the thinkers is very much necessary, because at times the questions in sociology won't be very direct.
Hmm.
So there might be questions where an analytical approach is needed, or any form of question in which sociological analysis is being asked.
Hmm.
So if we have a deeper understanding of a thinker, then even though directly the thinker may or may not have commented upon that topic,
Hmm.
but from their perspective, you can analyze any of the social aspect that is being asked.
Exactly.
For example, Marxist approach. So we can write in the exam that according to the Marxist analysis or Marxist approach, we can see that in this dimension. Or from the functionalist perspective, we can see this in these dimensions. So you will be only able to, play with these all threads of sociology if you have a deeper understanding. So that is an added advantage.
Yes, and I want to also know what is your experience with time management, because often in sociology when you're writing your answers in
Yes.
mains or in any test, you aspirants often say that they do not have much of time. So how they can plan their answers? What can be the strategy for managing their time?
Ma'am, I had this strategy that I will try to finish, like we have 10 markers,
Hmm.
uh, where we get
Question
around
number
two
one and
pages.
five. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, question number 1 and 5. So we have 10 questions like that. So I made it a habit that I'll try to finish those all, I will try at least to finish all the 10 in an hour.
Okay.
So
In
that
half
makes
an
it
hour.
six in 1 hour.
In one
1 hour,
hour.
all the 10.
Okay.
Huh. So each of them, like question 1 in half an hour and question 5 in half an hour.
Okay.
But definitely that is a very ambitious target, because questions and some parts might be left. So, but setting that target helped me to complete at least 8.5 answers nearby, 8.5, and sometimes 9 also.
Oh.
So yes, so like in 1 hour, I was able to finish minimum 8 and 8.8 and a half to around 9. So after that, I made the thing that in each of the questions, that are three questions, 20, 20, 10 markers. So I'll allocate half an hour for each of those three questions. So
Also
for
for
half an
10
hour,
mark question, like you in question number two also you have 10 mark questions, no?
ma'am, which one?
For example, question number two you have three parts.
Yes, question number two has having three parts. So 20 marker, and then 20 marker, and then 10 marker.
Yeah. Okay. So for
So
okay, exclusively you give this much of time. Okay.
and a half an hour time I allocated for that. So in
Hmm.
half an hour I have to finish the whole question.
Hmm.
Then in another half I have to finish another question, and in another half I have to finish another that complete 50 marker question. So in that way, but that also at times is not completed.
Hmm.
So I made the habit that if I have allocated half an hour, and if it is exceeding that, then I'll leave there that answer there. And if it's exceeding by 1 or 2 minutes, then it's fine. I'll complete. But if it's, if a whole question is being left, then I'll leave it there. I'll switch over to the other half. I'll switch over to the next question. I'll complete that part,
That's a wonderful
and try to
strategy.
again try to manage in that half an hour, because once if you have a lag, then that lag will continuously go on, and that lag will be reflected in each and every answer. So rather than that, having a time frame in in our mind is very helpful, that in half an hour I have to finish all these three parts of the question, and if not possible, then I'll leave it there. If 1 or 2 minutes here and there, fine, but if not 5, 6 minutes here and there. So in that way, I was at least able to complete three questions in which at least one 10-marker question was left. Uh, so, so I have a 10-marker question, one or two 10-marker from the question number 1 and 5 left, and here and there from around 10-marker one question left. So these 10-marker questions I try to complete in the next 15 to 20 minutes, and I had at least 10 minutes. I planned to have a spare time in which I could highlight, in which I could underline things, and in which I could draw diagrams and neat and clean work doing. So that in that way was able to manage the time. And initially, though it was very tough to compress all those in that. But if you will have multiple revisions in sociology, then you'll be able to compress that time, and you'll be able to finish at least 15 minutes before. So that 15 minutes will give you a very great advantage, because I remember in this attempt, because I had done a certain amount of revision, so things were flowing to certain extent, and I tried to complete the paper 15 minutes earlier, and in those left time I wrote many other examples, and I quoted data, I quoted facts, and even where spaces were left, I had drawn diagrams, and I have written even post conclusions to some conclusions where gaps
Okay.
were left. So those 10-15 minutes that we get, if we are able to complete, that are very very precious in sociology.
So my last question is, Arnav,
Yes.
from my side is that with respect to revision, as you said, it's very important. How relevant answer writing is for doing revisions? Because often, again, aspirants, what they do after making notes, they just give test series and something, but they don't do answer writing practice for revising. So, what do you think? That does answer writing has a lot of relevance in revising?
Ma'am, mains as a game is 50% your knowledge and 50% is the practice. So practice answer writing is an art in itself. So even though a person might not be having a very great knowledge about certain topics, but if they know how to write a good answer, and that comes through practice. So if they have done a good practice, if the aspirants have read good toppers copies, so I had also read many toppers copies, and that gave me the advantage of knowing how to express myself better, how to articulate my points better. So if the aspirants do that practice, I think it would be very helpful. Just having the material jotted down, and that would help a lot, because you have to actually write the answers, and during that writing itself, your many of the topics will automatically become clear, and if not, it will push you to revise those topics at least.
Thank you so very much, Arnav. Now, Simran is going to ask you a few questions. Okay, and because we have aspirants who they all were very excited, and because you could not come here, so we have lot many questions from our aspirant side, from like from the side of our aspirants, and now they are going to ask questions. So Simran, now you can ask questions. Thank you, Arnav.
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, congratulations, Arnav.
Thank
Am I
you.
audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Arnav, like my first question is that like when you have started your preparation, like in graduation or after the graduation, sorry.
Uh, I had my mindset bent towards preparing for civil services in 2014-15, and I
Mm-hmm.
started reading papers around that time
Okay.
regularly, and referring to videos which are relevant to this civil services preparation and all. So I had that bent of mind from the college time, second, third year, and but full-fledged preparation I started afterwards, after resigning from my job in Bangalore, and after 2018 I started full-fledged preparation.
Okay, so majorly after the graduation, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
after the job, you can say.
Okay. And which kind of resources basically you have used for your preparation, like majorly self-study or some coaching?
I had taken some of the sessions from coaching institutions as well. So in the initial days, because I was not having a lot of idea regarding what the
Hmm.
materials are, and there are a sea of materials. So for the initial phases, I had taken the support of institutions, but
Hmm.
in the past 2 3 years, largely my preparation was self-made. So
Okay.
during the times of pandemic, I went to my hometown, and then my preparation was on my own itself.
Okay. So, Arnav, as we all know that your background was IIT, BTech.
Yes.
So, on which criteria you have choose the sociology optional?
Yes. So during the college days itself, we were offered humanities and social sciences subjects as a compulsory subject. So
Okay.
there were multiple subjects being offered, but sociology to some extent drew my attention, and I took it in some of my semesters. I took in one of the semesters, and then my interest in the subject grew. So I took it in another 2 3 semesters, and then during that time, I got the opportunity during that time I got the opportunity to because IITs have adopted multiple villages around the campus. So we made multiple field visits, and I went on the field visit. So there I came to know regarding what the sociological problems are, what the issues the country is facing, and how a civil servant can bring change into that dimension. So
Mhm.
from there the interest in sociology has gained. So eventually, when I thought of preparing full-fledged for civil services, then sociology was a natural choice for me.
ओके तो अर्नब लाइक यूपीएससी एक ऐसी प्रिपरेशन है जहाँ पे हर थर्ड डे लगता है कि आज तो छोड़ ही देते हैं प्रिपरेशन या फिर डीमोटिवेट फील करते हो आप तो आपको क्या ऐसी चीज थी जो मोटिवेट करती थी टू जस्ट कंटिन्यू दिस प्रिपरेशन
Uh, बहुत सारे एस्पेक्ट्स होते हैं, एंड आई विल से कि nobody is nobody can say that they haven't faced this kind of situation, because this is a long preparation. This is not a one day preparation. Like everybody who has cleared through will be having all those uncertainty, all those fears, all those doubts on themselves if they can clear or not, because this is uh, that kind of process. But you have to have a faith in yourself that okay, if I have started with a dream, then I will try my best to achieve that. And uh, my strategy was to focus in the present mostly. It is because at times, if we analyze our schedules, we can see that most of the time either we are living in the past or the future. But what is compromised is our present. So if we can keep ourselves in the present and focus on our efforts on the present, and not a lot upon what has happened in previous attempts, or not, or what will happen if you clear the exam or not clear the exam, whatever, because those are the things that are not in our hand. So the thing that is in our hand is our effort. So if we focus a lot of attention on that, then it would be very helpful, and it is definitely easier said than done. And initially, everybody would face challenge in that. I faced a lot of challenge in that, but eventually, I was able to push out that time of thinking about past or the future, and focusing my energy and my effort in the present. So if in that way you can cope up to that challenges and keep yourself motivated and positive.
एंड बेसिकली व्हाट यू डू लाइक जब आप डीमोटिवेट फील करते थे तो उस टाइम पे आप क्या करते थे टू जस्ट स्टॉप द स्टडीज और कुछ ऐसा जो जिससे आपका इंटरेस्ट वापस से स्टडीज में आ जाता था
Uh, Whenever you think of leaving, just think of why you started. So that will give you enough energy. What was the reason that you left everything and you came here? Because of course, nobody said that this would be easy. So, but in spite of that, you had started the preparation having some thought in the mind that you'll change something. People may have different reasons for starting that, but there might be a very strong reason people have started this. So keep that reason in your mind. If not possible, if write that and put that on your table. So see it. So when that will happen, you'll have the idea that why you had started and why you still have to work through. Because like in my case, I was in a private service earlier as well, and I have seen both sides of the government service and the private service. And whenever there was doubt in my mind, so I realized that since I had seen that side, so I must explore the other side as well. So that thought also of not going back and now moving forward only. So that also kept me all along motivated. And yes, definitely demotivations would be a part of it, and that's why the personality test has a column of hobbies. So they are very much essential for anybody who is preparing for the civil services exam, because the hobbies actually keep you cool and calm. They help you relieve those kind of stress that we have of the examination. So any productive hobby and would be very helpful for an aspirant. That could be singing, dancing, or playing some instrument, or sketching. Any good hobby. Apart from, like, reading is also a very good hobby. So reading can be hobby, but anything that can take you away from all this mundane activity of reading every day, all those things. So something like that. So if all these things, and taking regular breaks. There are at times when we think that we shouldn't take breaks and we should put all the effort, but breaks are very much essential, because this is not a 2020 game. This is a very, very, very long test series. So taking regular breaks and recharging yourself, meeting your family members, your close friends, and a
Mhm.
certain close group of close social group is very necessary. Although uh, to some extent limiting our social boundaries is necessary, because if we interact with each and everybody, then it will waste our time and energy. But spending our time with people who push ourselves to positivity, who push ourselves to our dreams,
Mhm.
interacting with them, taking regular breaks. For example, on the weekends I took a half day to one day break regularly, because
Okay.
initially in my first and second years I used to push very, very hard, but that ultimately discharged me for a longer time. So then I made it a habit that whatever has been done in the week, I'll definitely take a break on the
Okay. So Arnav, this was your third attempt, correct?
week.
For यूपीएससी। तो ऐसी क्या मिस्टेक्स थी जो आपने फर्स्ट और सेकंड में की थी जिसकी वजह से सेकंड में आई थिंक आपके रैंक भी आया था,
Yes.
बट दैट वाज नॉट दैट मच कि दैट्स व्हाई आपने दोबारा उसको रीअटेम्प्ट दिया था। सो ऐसी क्या मिस्टेक्स थी जो आपने फर्स्ट और सेकंड में किया एंड उसको थर्ड में आपने रिपीट नहीं किया था?
Uh, look, in first attempt preparation जो है static बहुत ज़्यादा हो गई थी, and जो dynamism होता है, because in the prelims we have seen that it is very dynamic in nature. So that dynamism was not present, and that I improved in my second attempt by inculcating digital sources in my preparation. So various digital channels are present on YouTube which upload good quality content. So that helped me to contemporize my preparation and broaden my knowledge base. And after that, in after the second attempt when I gave mains and went all through and got DANIPS, then I realized that my preparation, although my answers and everything was just fine, but to add that extra push, I have to work harder. So for that, I worked upon how to improve the answer quality, and in that, multiple revisions had helped. Along with that, making fact sheets, data sheets, keyword sheets, and making a sheets of diagrams, generic diagrams, which I can utilize any and everywhere. So all those things very much help. And yes, and reading test paper solutions this year as well as last year, and reading the standard material, but at least picking up those things that we can revise for at least 3 times. So anything for means, if not you're not able to revise it at least 3 times, in my opinion, that would waste time and energy. So people may have a photographic memory, but generally we have to revise so as to replicate the content in the exam. So I
करेक्ट।
did not pick anything which I wasn't able to revise, which I thought that I won't be able to revise, I won't be getting the time. I never picked it from the start itself.
Oh. So Anna, thank you so much. Like now I will
Yeah.
just forward to Priya. Miss Priya will like ask some questions to you.
Okay.
Hello, Priya.
Hello, Arnav. Good evening.
Hi. Good
First,
evening.
congratulations to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So, Arnav, first my question is, Arnav, tell me about your hobby, your interest.
I'm like, I have a hobby of singing, and I play guitar, and I consistently read books, and books not related to the examination, but other books, for example, biographies, autobiographies. At times, I do sketch as well. So all these hobbies are helpful.
Okay. So, Arnav, can you share your UPSC interview experience? Did you get any benefit for the mock interview?
Yes, ma'am. My interview experience for the last time as well as this time was are very much different, because last time I wasn't in service. But this time, since I already am a deputy collector, so questions were largely oriented regarding how I would be handling practical real life situations as an administrator. So questions like, if you are appointed a collector of a district, then how would you be handling some problem like drugs problem in the youth, or education for the women, education for the children? How would you be improving the quality? So these kind of situational questions, or if you are made a joint secretary or an under secretary as a position, then if some form of corruption is happening in the system, how would you be able to cope and put that forward? So these type of situational questions were there. And regarding the hobbies, the questions were not there this time. But last year when I gave the interview, because that time I was not in a service, so the questions were on hobbies itself. For at least 5 minutes, there were 4 or 5 questions on the hobbies. So they actually lighten the mood and they bring down the tension. And you also feel comfortable at that time, because those are the things that you actually have an interest into.
Okay. So Arnav, I was what's your routine? सोशल मीडिया से आप कैसे मतलब आप कितने कनेक्ट थे, और क्या हमें सोशल मीडिया यूज करना चाहिए या कट ऑफ कर देना चाहिए बिल्कुल, उसके बारे में आपका क्या कहना है?
ओके, सो देखिए, जैसे मेरा रूटीन ऐसा रहता था कि आई एम अ मॉर्निंग पर्सन, सो आई यूज्ड टू वेक अप अर्ली and I started my preparation early, and by the time 10:30, 11, I went to bed. And social media is, it is a two-edged sword. So it can be very helpful, but it can be a problem as well. So I was active on WhatsApp, because we had made certain groups in which useful content was being shared. And I was to some extent active on Telegram, because there as well some groups, productive groups, have been there. So, but what I made was, and of course YouTube was a very good help, and that also helped to certain extent in my preparation for prelims, mains, and for personality tests. So it was very huge contribution of the media. So, but limiting that in a way that it does not waste a lot of time of yours. So I made a rule that, okay, if I'll study for 50 minutes, I'll for 10 minutes I'll see if something I want to, or I am not able to maintain my concentration for that long. So something, or some, I'll hear some song. So completely cutting off each and everything would also be not possible. We are all humans. But limiting all those times that we waste on social media would be helpful. And regarding other social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and other social media, that I rarely, very rarely use.
Okay. So my next question is how you deal with current affair, because आज की डेट में मतलब बेसिकली यूपीएससी में करंट अफेयर को ही सबसे ज्यादा मतलब बच्चे सोचते हैं कैसे डील करें, क्या पढ़ें, तो आपका इन सब में क्या कहना है?
Current affairs के लिए, apart from reading the newspaper regularly, you can refer to any of the market material that are being available. But of any two institutions, I would say students can choose according to their will, whichever one they like and understand. But taking two material would be helpful, because if one is missing on something, then the other will plug in that loopholes. And along with that, for current affairs, digital sources are very, very necessary. So multiple good platforms are there who offer current affairs videos, like the channels like Pathfinder and World Affairs, and other channels like Sleepy Classes, Only IAS. So Study IQ, these platforms offer good current affairs content, which could be revised and listened to. So they also make the preparation very dynamic. So even though if you'll not be able to directly come to the answer, you'll be able to eliminate at least some options, and that will take you to the answer.
Okay, so it's my last question. Okay, so who is your role model?
That would be a difficult question for me, because so many people have so much contribution for me being here. But many people I idolize, for example, Gandhi ji and Swami Vivekanand, and starting in my family, my father, mother, of course, they each have certain qualities that had pushed me in this, and my sister, she's also an IFS officer. So she had a lot contribution in my preparation as well. She is an IFS officer of UP cadre itself. So she had been, friend, philosopher, guide all along. So all these are just few names, and lots and lots of people had their contribution. So
Okay, so thank you so much and nice to meet with you. Okay.
you're most welcome. Thank you so
Adam,
much.
one more question is there. Like एक last message अगर आपको देना हो aspirants को जो अभी preparation कर रहे हैं, तो आपका क्या message होगा उनके लिए?
Ma'am, as I said, idolization. So I'll say a few things like consistency and patience. If you make these two your pillars, then there's nothing you can't achieve. In some way or the other, in some form or the other, someday or the other, some exam or the other, in some walk of the life or the other, you will definitely succeed. And like Swami Vivekanand has always said, कि उठो जागो और तब तक मत रुको जब तक लक्ष्य को हासिल ना कर लो. So this quote has always resonated with me at the times when I was low, that I have to make the effort, I have to make through, and I cannot give up. So this would be my message. Keep striving and working hard. Definitely things will change.
Okay. Thank you so much, Arnav. Firstly, आप इतने short notice पे like हमारे invitation पे आप आए उसके लिए. And again, congratulations. And it was great time with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.